Well, you did have an influence on the Yale Art Gallery, in
Yes,
terms of the
yes.
actual structure of the floors.
Yes, actually, Lou presented at least 2 other schemes, I think, before he came to doing the architect truss. And actually, I kept saying, you know, this is your first big, prestigious building. Why bother to do something which is not innovative? You get so much more pleasure from doing something, you know, especially this particular thing, which I was interested in pushing.
Yeah.
But it fit his concepts of served and servant space.
Right.
And that's what really I pushed, you know, in terms of his do it. And also, it was very lucky because the contractor, McCumber, was very keen on the idea, and he did a terrific job of the test bit. And
I see. It was built in. It had to be built in a peculiar way because it was very difficult to cast it, wasn't it?
well, it was modified in terms of its structure. Is simply that where you would have triangular openings in one direction, they filled it in as a tilted beam, which then sat on beams in a rectangular arrangement. I think it's a shame in a way, but the fact that he did it at all is remarkable, because the code was terrible, and the engineer was very doubtful all the way along. It was not the least bit encouraging about it.
One of the most remarkable aspects of this work is the actual casting of the so-called diagrid floor. Made of in-situ concrete construction, the first procedure is to assemble a series of welded steel pyramids on a temporary plywood sheet soffit dropped into position beneath the floor. These rows of pyramids, precisely positioned and interlaced with reinforcing bars in 2 directions, thereby reinforcing the lower chords of the finished floor. To these are added additional flat triangular plates that are positioned by spacers over the faces of the pyramid. The interstitial space between the 2 elements into which the first concrete pour will be made is reinforced with thinner wire stirrups, and thereafter the first pour is carried out, thereby occupying the interstitial space with concrete. Lighting battens and air conditioning pipe runs are then installed into the upper part of the space frame, and thereafter the positioning of acoustical tiles between the upper linear chords of the diagrid floor, plus the provision of linear and diagonal reinforcement bars across the top of the tiled surface, enable the second pour of the floor to be made, thereby terminating the casting of the structural slab. This slab is then covered with sealer mats, on top of which the final oak floor is laid.